let's get our with Season of Construct, okay? For the people who have not watched this yet, quick wrap up, quick summary for everyone that just joined. We're getting an AI robot companion. Okay, step 1. That AI robot companion is going to get 2 attacks or 2 defensive abilities that you can tune with 3 tuning stones. Okay, so 2 different attacks and 3 tunings for that. And we have the whole list already wrapped up in our document. That is going to be also linked in the description of the YouTube video, because I am not this season 3 document. So that also comes in the description of the YouTube video, that everyone can kind of find it easily, right? And now our goal is to theorycraft a bit around with this. Yes, we're getting an AI robot. And yes, AI is everywhere. I'm sorry, Sandy. It is just waiting to have you be there. So yes, you're getting that robot, and he's going to fight for you. He's going to buff you. He's going to do things. And you're going to essentially take this robot or play with this robot while you're beating the vaults and also the arcane tremors. So those are the key pieces right now. And then we're also going to be fighting the leaderboard with this. But the robot is very interesting. We have these attacks, right? So you can go auto defense. The construct activates an antimateria field around itself, shooting down enemy projectiles. Cannot shoot down boss or player projectiles. Seems completely useless, right? Why would we take anything that could shoot down projectiles? Like Bushwick. Quickly ambush, dealing damage to each target. May strike the same target multiple times. What I'm asking myself is, you know, here, this is where we're going to put some questions in here. Questions. Do we need any damage from the robot? Because every build can already do every piece of content. So that's my main question. Do we actually need our robot to deal damage for us? Because technically, no. We don't need the robot to deal damage for us, right? Also here, deploy a small construct that lands on the target and explodes 3 times, dealing damage. What for? Not every build, every class. Yeah. Every class. I'll be there. Okay. You get Focus Fire, where it channels a ray of fire onto targets, dealing damage to over time. Gyrate is area damage. So, like, if you're looking at merely doing damage, it doesn't seem worth it, especially when the construct materializes a protective barrier on the player for a portion of their maximum life. That sounds good in my eyes. Being able to get, like, here, portion of maximum life. Or, Reconstruct, there's a maximum life healing over time. Plus, there's a damage buff. The season's underwhelming, disappointing. I think there is like... It's going to be lackluster in content so far until the leaderboards come. I mean, for me, the highlight will be the leaderboard. So now the tunings, like, so as we said, we don't need damage. So damage itself is useless, but damage can be good with the right tunings. And here it gets actually very interesting. Because let's say we're taking Gyrate, okay? The construct whirls it selects around, quickly dealing damage to all surrounding enemies. Cool. That means it could do area damage, right? Or a bolt of lightning at the target dealing damage arcs to other targets dealing a portion of the original damage. Let's say we're taking Lightning Bolt, okay? We're taking a Lightning Bolt here. That's kind of cool. That's our attack. And then we have 3 tunings that we could take for this. And now it gets interesting, because we could go for Breaking Support. Damage from the supported skill instantly destroys enemy barrier effects. Kind of cool, but in addition, there's a chance to make enemies vulnerable for 2 seconds. I don't know how high the chance is, but if the Breaking Support for the Lightning Bolt makes things vulnerable, then as a Necromancer who struggled to make things vulnerable, apart from, you know, getting like your corpse terminals rolling, we could make things vulnerable completely all the time. Plus, interestingly enough, if this is now also having resource support, player gains an amount of primary resource when the supporting skill first deals damage. Okay, so that lightning bolt could make things vulnerable and restore resource for us at the same time, which would be good for, you know, this would be good for Bone Spear, but also for Blood Surge and for Blood Lance. So those 3 builds would instantly profit from this, right? I mean, I can think about a lot of classes that would like to have this. Gibbo, thank you for the 81 months of support. Great to see you there. Pleasure to have you with us. Thank you very much for being here for such a long time. And that's, we get to have 3 supports, right, on one skill. And then I have a question for you. So that's already the 2 good supports, right? Vulnerable and resource. But there's a third one which was extremely good, and that was decreases the cooldown of the supported skill. So that means that it's now happening more often, okay? So you have a lightning bolt, which is going out, which hits all the targets, which gives you decreased cooldown on itself, and then does also restore resource. That sounds good, correct? But having a tiny robot with you that gives you more resource seems reasonable. If I think about my Blood Surge build, that's fire. My question is now, we can take, in this overlay, right? You can take 2 abilities. When in the blog post, it says, tuning and governing stones can be acquired in a few different ways, blah, blah, blah. Below is a list of the governing tuning stones, but here. So you can equip your Seneschal with 2 governing stones and 6 tuning stones, right? 1 governing stone for each attack and 3 tuning stones to augment the ability. But can I take 2 different attacks? Okay, so I take lightning bolt plus gyrate. Okay, lightning bolt plus gyrate. Gyrate is the area effect, and give both the same support stones. Huh? Is that possible? Because technically, I could do resource support, duration support, and whatever, right? All the 3 supports I said. And then can I do it again, right? Is this like, this is governing stone 1, essentially, right? Governing stone 1 for the lightning bolt. And could my governing stone 2 be essentially exactly the same? That's 3 or 10. If I'm just looking to, instead of lightning bolt, I'll take gyrate then, correct? Oop, wrong. So I'll take gyrate, and I would have both times the same. This is something we need answered, or you need to know, because then if I was going for a maximum resource gain, that makes perfect sense. What I find very interesting, though, is you can make your bot also chill things. So a portion of the supported skill's damage dealt is applied as cold damage over time and applies chill. So I can play physical damage and still chill. Or a portion of the supported skill damage is applied to burning damage over time. So now you could make burning enemies take bonus critical strike damage from the construct. But that's not the point, right? You burn enemies. And if you're burning enemies, that means for a Sorg right now, that you don't have to take the Firebolt enchantment, right? Because most Sorks play Firebolt enchantment. And if you're playing a Sork now with burning support, that makes perfect sense. It's kind of nasty. You can also do electrocution. Portion is dealt as lightning damage over time and has a chance to stun enemies. If it has a chance to stun enemies, that would also apply stagger. So this one would do bonus stagger. Bonus stagger plus stagger versus bosses plus bonus damage versus stun. So that's like a synergy we can get out of this, right? Move the questions to the left side. Let's have this here. Same format. Because then was burning support was saves Sorg to use an enchantment, right? How does it target and how reliable is the application? See, this. I counted 11 governing and 25 tuning, 2 special stones. Yes, we have 2 special stones, Envy, exactly. So the how often does this apply, or how does this apply? It depends on your attack. This is why I was taking the lightning bolt. So lightning bolt launches a bolt of lightning at the target, right? But gyrate, for example, and that's the problem with gyrate. So the construct whirls its legs, quickly dealing damage to all surrounding enemies. But I mean, this is the construct, right? So he would have to stand inside the opponents to actually hit them. Whereas if the construct shoots out a lightning bolt, then it doesn't matter where the enemies stand, because you shoot a lightning bolt and it arcs between them. Correct? So if you're now taking Impale, Impalers perform a line attack. They gotta stand in a line. You get Slash, pummel enemies in front, so also just a minimal amount. Tempest. Electrical charge an enemy, causing it to deal damage to themselves and additional enemies each second over time. If the enemy is killed, Tempest spreads to another enemy, gaining additional time and bonus damage. These bonuses are also applied if Tempest is reapplied onto the same enemy. Huh. Sounds interesting. To a degree. But you could also take Flash of Adrenaline, administer a quick flash of adrenaline into the player, granting bonus damage for a duration. So right now, my choice would be Governing Stone 1, Governing Stone 2. So I would probably, in this case, oh, Jesus, I can't write Governing Stone as it seems. Governing Stone 2. So right now, in my eyes, the perfect thing would be taking the lightning bolt with breaking, resource, and tactical support for the necro, and then we take the flash of adrenaline, right? As the Governing Stone 2 is the second ability, and that flash of adrenaline, which gives us bonus damage for a duration, could also get a duration support. Wait, was there was duration support, right? Yeah, here. So supported skills have their duration increased. And then you could also get... Oh, look, when the construct uses the supported skill, you gain Fortify. He could bonus Fortify you. Look, Chan. You forget the legendary gem drop? Well, we don't know anything about the legendary gem drop. I mean, right now, you don't know. We don't know what they do. There's two legendary ones. Yes. They're called Evernight and Genesis. Yeah, that's what we don't have. We're waiting. We'll see that. Also, Gato, good to see you there, brother. I'm not sure if these are actually like, what are these? These are also tuning stones, though. Here, scholars have spoken of hushed whispers, rumors of fabled tuning stones far beyond the capable power of mere mortals. We don't know anything about this, but we'll see. Maybe what's coming in the future with that. But yeah, I mean, like until we know more, I'm not even interested in putting them in. So that one could also give fortify. And then what do we have? Damage? No. Mockery. Oh, I mean, your robot can also taunt, which I don't need, I think. I mean, like, so this is the interesting part. Damage done by the supporting skill taunts enemies hit for a limited duration of time. That could work if you're a summoner necro right now. Right? Oh, you can actually make things get pulled towards the construct with gripping support. Interesting. Huh. The supported skill can hit additional enemies. That would actually be good for the up here instead of the cooldown, but I think it doesn't make sense because you're not getting more. Initiative. The supported skill costs the construct to teleport to the target. No. First gains resource. No, that was for damage. That was fortified. Duration. Yeah, fortified duration. And probably also here would be... Oh, here, you could get damage reduction too. Wow, look at that. So you can get Flash of Adrenaline for bonus damage. The bonus damage would have an increased duration. You would also get Fortify when he does it, and you would get damage reduction. Instead of the Fortify, because we're fortifying ourselves, we would probably have it just tactical support again, if this is possible. See, this is what I'm asking myself. Can I now use tactical support multiple times? Right, Gato? So we have decreased the cooldown of supported skills. Decrease the cooldown of supported skills. But I do not see a single reason. Tell me, chat. Why? I mean, obviously, I can't do 2 times the same on the left. So let's say I have, I can't do Flash of Adrenaline, and then I cannot socket 2 tactical supports for 1 stone. Correct? So I cannot put 2 times the same stone for the skill. I guess we can agree on this, correct? I cannot stack that. So I cannot say, like, resource support goes 2 times on the right side, and then I have, like, 1 skill have 3 times resource support. I guess that's not possible. But having resource support on the right and on the left, or tactical support on the right and on the left, I mean, that should be possible, correct? Could be possible from a different level gem. A good point, but I don't think you're gonna have multiple ones. So the runes don't have different levels. What's happening is, wait. Here. So the way you upgrade gems is by here. To unlock the full power of the stones, you will need to increase their raw power by leveling them. Collect or craft duplicates of the same stone, fuse them together to grant experience, and eventually level up your currently held stones. They learned this the hard way. We're getting a level 1, and we're only getting level 1. So you're essentially getting all the level 1s, and then you just fuse them to make level 2s, and then you fuse them to make level 3s. So I think it's just like gems, okay? But instead of getting like royal rubies, we're only getting rubies, and then we take 3 rubies to make a ruby level 2, and then we take 9 rubies to make 3 rubies level 2 to then make a ruby level 3, and then we take 18, 27 rubies to make enough rubies level 2 to make enough rubies level 3. So that's how the upgrade is going to work. Gregor, the runes are orange. Well, the rune color. So the only thing about the rune color is this is just there is called tactical support. This is Genesis and Evernight. Genesis and Evernight are the super rare ones that we don't know anything about. Yeah. I don't think the colors mean anything much because this is tactical support. Tactical support is blue as it seems. But I don't think that all the support runes are blue. Then again, like he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He has 9. Come on, brain, say it, or I'm gonna. His 9 red runes, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That would be 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So that's essentially all the like 27 tuning stones in total. Right? We get 27, different tuning stones. So the colors mean nothing, technically. They're probably just there, as you say, like if it's an offensive support, like multi-shot. So here, this is piercing support. The supported projectile will pierce multiple enemies, probably red. Seeking support. Supported skill will auto-seek enemies, probably red. Then again, like as we have seen, tactical support for the cooldown reduction is blue. Swift support, the supported skill gains attack speed bonus, is probably also blue. But you know what I mean. I do think it's just like, you know. There could be multiples of the same stone on that screen. See, that's the good point, Gregor. There could be the multiple of the same stone on that screen. This is also what we don't know. If you're actually going to have like, because again, like I should be able to have multiple tactical supports, right? Like we have this behind us. Like we have all these, but realistically, if the upgrading works the way it does, and hopefully we're not getting them in our inventory, because it looks right now that they're not landing in our inventory, which is really good. I mean, think about it, chat. Think about this here, landing in our inventory, in our stash tabs. No, they seem to be all right here. That means if I pick up 8 tactical support runes, that I can then mash into a higher level tactical support. Which brings up the question, could I have a level 1 tactical support and a level 2 tactical support on the same side? I guess we can go easily with the assumption it's only one kind per side. So if I have tactical support on the right, I cannot take another tactical support on the right. But I might still be able to take tactical support on the left. Questions. Yeah, these are the questions I have. I will like this is why I'm writing them down. Okay, you know? Because I need to have like these questions for the people, right? But we got bleeding support. Who works with bleeding, Chad? Does Barbarian do anything better when bleeding is involved? I don't know this, to be honest. Does Barbarian do more damage when bleeding is there? Like if the rend is Fury, deals if enemy is vulnerable, bleeding, yeah, it does bleeding damage, right? But do you get more damage when something is bleeding? As the barb? Or not? I don't know this because I never play barb. So your bleeding affects slow health enemies by here. Your bleeding effects deal increased damage. So, but it says your bleeding affects slow enemies, correct? You need bleeding for damage reduction. What is it called? The bleeding for damage reduction thingy? What is it? When causing an enemy to bleed, you have a chance equal to critical strike to increase bleed amount. Yeah, but that wouldn't count. It's an aspect. Wait, how is the aspect called? Offensive or defensive one? Defensive one probably, right? Bleed. Iron blood. Gain damage reduction for each nearby bleeding enemy. See, that should work. Right? Because the important part is the Iron Blood aspect says for each bleeding enemy. So right now, bleeding support would be Iron Blood aspect on Barb equals to more damage reduction. This should work, but what shouldn't work is if we're looking for the skills shouldn't work, right? Because the skill says your bleeding effects. That means I'm not bleeding anyone. Interesting also for Sorg, though, there's a chill. Does Sorg get more damage when chill? I mean, there's Ball of Lightning. There is Blizzard, active core cast. No. Do you get more damage with Frost? Close enemies. Crackling. After freeze expires, enemies explode for... Oh. Your frost skills have a chance to make your next cast ice shards, frozen orbs, or blizzard consume no mana. No. This one, Shatter, could actually work because, again... well, Construct should work as your pet and count as your attacks, so it should work. But Uncle Kid, it should, would, could, would. I don't think it actually does count as your attacks, to be honest. So we got Frigate support. That means Sorg, Mastery, Chill Explosions. Because when you apply Chill, enough Chill makes things freeze. Does anyone else profit from Chill? Is there anything else that is like a Frost? Frost skills increase damage to elites. You deal increased... Here, you increase damage to chilled enemies. Yeah. So you're essentially just dealing more damage, ultimately. Oh. I mean, there's one single thing that synergizes with that. Yeah, the burn on dot should work. So the burn definitely works here. So save Sorg to use an enchantment. So no more Firebolt enchantment. That's for sure. There's no question about this. Which brings us to poison support. A portion of the skill, the poison has a chance each second to spread all... What? Okay, so a portion of the supported skill's damage dealt is applied as poison damage over time, but this poison has a chance each second to spread all poison damage to an additional damage. That means druids are insane. Wait, do I understand that? Because if all poison damage. So if you're a druid, right? Come on, go over to the druid thingy. Barbarian. Druid. Skill tree. Poison. So you do poison, right? Also apply poison, and then you do poison, right? And then you can do deal increased damage to poisoned enemies. So wolves do more damage, and you do more poison with Poison Creeper. And then you have poison, right? And all that poison would spread. Yeah, and poisoned enemies take bonus damage. So they're poisoned. So your enemy's poisoned, and poisoned enemies are slowed. Wait, it says poisoned enemies are slowed. It doesn't say enemies you poisoned. This is different. Because it says poisoned enemies, right? That's like very important with the wording here. So that means critical strike with werewolf skills deal their base damage as poisoning damage. That doesn't matter, but poisoned enemies take additional critical strike damage. Yep. Perfect. So it's not like that you're anyways poisoning, but you could do bonus critical strike damage without having to play poison. Right? So you could slow and poison enemies, but you wouldn't actually have to do it yourself. So druids are insane. bonus poison spread plus crit damage slow. Then we have Dusk support. Dusk support is now, by the way, before we go to that, Frigate support applies chill, right? Chad? What I need to know is, how is the wording on Necro? Because Necro says... You deal increased shadow damage to enemies who are slowed or chilled. Increased shadow damage to enemies who are stunned, immobilized, or frozen. These bonuses stack and apply to shadow damage dealt by your minions. Yeah. So that counts. Should count, right? Is there anything else with chill? Just literally that, you know? It's just chill. so I mean, technically, stacks necro gloom. Not gloom. How was it called? It's not gloom. It's terror. Can you stack all the dot supports on the same attack to give you high X-Fel procs? I mean, X-Fel shouldn't work with this. So we get X-Felds, and X-Felds reads. So, your damage over time effects. Your damage over time effects. Now, that is the question. So, as soon as the damage is on the opponent, does it count as your damage over time or not? So, as soon as the damage is on the opponent, is it your damage over time or the minions? Yeah. Because I don't think it's your damage over time, because that would be broken. So that would actually be broken. I mean, like, imagine everything it does counts as your damage over time. So I don't think so. Now we have dust support as well, which is shadow damage. Yeah, your damage is cast by your skills, exactly. And will the pet benefit from minion buffs? Here, good question. Will the robot pet be buffed by, after you have been healthy, you and your minions gain attack speed? Your minions gain armor and elemental resistance. Interesting also, increases damage reduction by 6% when you have no minions. Each active minion reduces this by 2%. Your minions deal 30% increased damage while you're close to them. Would that work on that guy or not? Dust support. A portion of the supported skill damage dealt is applied as shadow damage over time. Afflicted enemies who attack have a chance for their attacks to be interrupted. This sucks. What is that? I mean, seriously, what is that? Because you have, like, poison that bonus spreads. You have bleed for more damage reduction. We have, well, some stagger and bonus damage, right? And if they stun, that anyways works with Sork Lightning. So, stun equals to Sork Lightning stuff, right? Then you have, like, the burning damage, which helps Sorks a lot. And then you have, like, the chill damage, which also helps Sorks. And then we have the shadow damage, which actually would help the Necro, and it's useless. No, Neil, if you have no active minions, still works. No, Neil. The wording is following. If you have no active minions, by 6% or 18 in total, but each active minion reduces this bonus by 2. So you still have the damage reduction. The wording is just shitty on standalone, right? So it still works if you have minions. Only, yeah. Should work. Okay, this sucks. Simple. And I would say it wouldn't count as a minion, but you don't know if they screw this up. So we don't know if they screw this up. This one I find completely useless. The supported skill gains an attack speed bonus. This is the skill that is being used. So either the auto defense, the bushwhack, the firefly, the focus fire, the gyrate. What does an attack speed bonus use? Pummel enemies in front of the seneschal construct dealing damage. Is the slash, for example, here an attack? I mean, the lightning bolt is launch a bolt. That's like an ability, right? But what does bonus attack speed? Huh? I mean, isn't cooldown support always better? Like, I don't understand where like, are some of these attacks not a cast? Because of the bushwhack, quickly ambush dealing damage to each target, may strike the same target multiple times. I mean, each of them is kind of like a cast. There's deploy a small construct that lands on the target, explode 3 times, dealing damage. Cool. Yeah. Interesting question, chat. Next one. Resource support says, players gain amount of primary resource when the supported skill first deals damage. Now, what does that mean for Impale? So for Lightning Bolt, it means that every single arc of Lightning Bolt technically doesn't do anything, right? Because it says first deals damage to the first target. Or does it mean first deals damage to the first time to a target? You know? That's so like. And then for Impale, perform a line attack to all enemies in front of you. Does that mean that it counts for every target once, or only for the first target you deal damage to? Hello? Could you answer that for me? This aspect will help in a bone build. Oh, there's a lot that will help. I mean, the resource support is, again, like right now, I think the perfect combo would be Lightning Bolt. So if this really only counts for like Lightning Bolt is perfect for the vulnerable, right? Because damage from the supported skill instantly destroys enemy barrier effects. In addition, there's a chance to make enemies vulnerable. A Lightning Bolt that arcs between targets can make everyone vulnerable. I don't see another ability that can do the same. Because you have the Firefly, but that lands on one target. You have the Focus Fire, a ray of fire onto targets, dealing damage to each over time. But that would be in a cone in front of it. Gyrate is only around, but therefore enemies need to actually stand close to the robot. Impale is only in one direction as well. Lightning Bolt is no matter where they're standing. Slash is also only in front. Tempest is only one target and then it jumps. Right? Lagus. Think of the 31 centuries of support, Lagus. Very good to see you there, brother. There was something with critical damage as well, and that's true. Supported skill gains a critical strike damage bonus. That makes no sense to me. I mean, like, again, why would I give any of the minion attacks a critical strike damage bonus if I am supposed to deal the main damage? Like, we're not gonna be making our minion the main damage, technically. I don't see that happening. Correct? Pinnock, thank you for the 34 centuries of support. Lagus, thank you for the 31 months. Bigsby, also appreciation. Good to see you there. So it depends on the internal, yes. So attacks internal cooldown is very important. So you're right about that, because we don't know if Bushwhack has a 1 second cooldown, Lightning Bolt has a 4 second cooldown, Gyrate only has a 0.5 second cooldown. So these things do tremendously matter. In this case, what we're going to use to work. Efficiency support. When the supporting skill deals damage, you gain critical strike chance to the same target's hit. That is good for almost every single class. Right? But that also brings us back to Lightning Bolt. So when the supporting skill deals damage, you gain critical strike chance to the same target's hit. Interesting part is this works against bosses. This works against bosses. Yep, exactly. Because the other ones, the bleed. No, wait, bleed should... No, does bleed work against bosses? I mean, chill doesn't work against bosses. Chill is stagger. That's boss equals to stagger, so it doesn't work. What is with bleed? Does bleed work versus bosses? But bleed is not... I mean, does burn work against bosses? Does burn works against bosses, right? Burn works. Burn works against bosses. Yeah, and bleed works against bosses. I mean, not that you need it, but it's just interesting. Poison also works against bosses, right? Yeah, poison also. Poison works against bosses too. By the way, what does Rogue get from more poison on enemies? Rogue, skill tree, poison. I mean, I would assume Rogue usually should profit from poison nicely. That is poison trap, knocks, poison trap, poison trap. You deal increased poison damage to enemies. No. You deal increased poisoning damage. Poison enemies deal... Oh, yeah, see? Instant. Huh. You gain increased attack speed for each enemy. For each enemy you have poisoned. See? This one, alchemical advantage, should not work for the poisoning you do does, right? Then it's non-physical damage you deal. No. So technically you have constant damage reduction going on. Also, right? So that would be damage reduction for rogues. Technically. It's just like checking what we can do with this. Season 3 out. Season 3 is out in 6 days, and we're theory crafting for Season 3. It will, as the supported bot gives poison to your skills. No, the supported bot doesn't give poison to your skills. A portion of the supported skills damage. So you misunderstand. Your skills, it's not your skills. It's a supported skill. Means this guy here. The damage that the bot does. Okay? So the poison damage that is being dealt is from the bot. I know it's written in a weird way, but it's not your skills being supported. This is the bot. He has 2 skills, whatever you choose, 2 attacks, 2 what? The doc is shared, ! Season 3, or in the description of the YouTube video. It's already out. You can just check it out. So you have 2 skills, 2 active skills you can use, and these skills get 3 tunings. And the support to the skills is these tunings. That's here the same. Efficiency support, when the supporting skills deals damage, you gain critical strike chance. Right? Or devastation support, supported skills gain a critical strike damage bonus. Right now, I would mark this one off. I would mark that one. No, I would mark that one off. This is useful for everyone. Especially Druid plus Necro. Because Druid plus Necro struggle with making vulnerable. And so the supported skills effect size is increased. I'm not sure if that is in any way useful. I mean, sure, like he can do a bigger fire blob, but if you compare just the usefulness of having a bigger fire from Impale or Focus Fire, or like getting a chance for vulnerable. How's the level system for the bot spider? It's explained in the block. The spider does not level itself. I think the spider is as sturdy as it is. I'm not like, it probably gets portion of your HP, or it just like, you know, you're level 100, it is level 100, you're level 50, it is level 50. That's probably how the spider does things. But the rune level up is by crafting multiple of the same runes and then merging them together to get higher level runes. That's how it works. The question is, yeah, but the question was how does the spider have like life and so on? The bot is immortal, but the bot has a life bar. Or is that the cast bar? But he has 2 skills, so that would make sense. It says it is, but where does it say it's invulnerable? Did I miss that? Because I always wondered. Spider cannot die. There was some interview. Because I'm wondering, like, I don't think it would make sense if the spider could die. The spider should be undying. But like, if you have that pulled up, that would be great to know if the spider is undying or not. I mean, I feel like the spider should be undying, because if you have to worry about your spider to survive the whole time, that's kind of stupid. It kind of defeats the purpose, right? If that thing dies. I'm going to be surprised if there's like, they want to avoid being useless. Yeah, but how could there have been an interview if it was just released yesterday? You know? Like, I mean, the information was just released yesterday, so if there's an interview, it would have had to happen yesterday, straight away. So yeah, but let's assume the spider is invulnerable, okay? I mean, it doesn't matter for anything we're doing. You know? Let's be real. If the spider's invulnerable or not, doesn't matter. Yeah, probably he can die. Otherwise, you would just send the spider instance he has taunt. Well, no. So damage done by supporting skills taunts enemies hit for a limited duration of time. This can only occur once every so often per enemy. So you could just use mockery support, right? But it also depends on what skill you're using again and how useful that would be. I don't mind if the spider would be an infinite taunt bot. Rex showed the interview on his video. Rex interacts. We can check it out. Oh, he made a video, season 3 overview. We can quickly skim and we can try to find this out. Here's where does he have the article from? PC Gamer will give everyone the little robot friend. He said something. Here, don't fret. Seneschal can't die. Senior manager of game design Daniel Tangway said in a group interview with PC Gamer last week, it will scale with your character's power. We wanted to avoid the situation where you basically upgrade to the point where your Seneschal is useless. Okay. The pet's health and power scales with your stats. No, health doesn't matter because it can't die. Seneschal can't die. So no health, just power. Any idea if the bot's movement speed matches your own? I mean, everything else would be stupid. Good question, but everything else would be stupid, right? I like this one, by the way. Safeguard support. When used, the supported skill grants damage reduction to you. Cool. But if you need this, right, you can just play the Reconstruct. The Seneschal heals you and gives you damage reduction, or Protect. The Seneschal gives you a barrier on the player for a portion of their maximum life. This is the interesting part, that both of these work with a portion of the maximum life, which makes Protect and Reconstruct perfect for overpower builds. Why is it perfect for overpower builds? Because overpower scale with maximum life. I mean, in overpower builds, you're only maximum lifing, Lagus. So you're trying to get the maximum amount of life in overpower builds. So natively, everything that scales with maximum life is good for overpower builds. You know? I'm planning to play a low life build for the first time this season. The barrier and DR are interesting for you. Yes, I mean, the barrier, if you play a low life build, is useless. I mean, but the DR you can also use together with the adrenaline support for bonus damage. Right? So our spider can get out of mana. No, our spider can't get out of mana because he has just cooldown. So what I assume the spider has right now is a cooldown. So this is 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 7 seconds, 2, 3, 4. And then he just casts and casts and casts and casts. So I do believe the spider's just next to you and just does what it does. Like it's like a buff bot. A buff bot plus bonus damage bot plus bonus conditional bot, right? I mean, right now the bonus electrocution is good for Sorg, good for Lightning Sorg, right? Does anyone really profit from stun otherwise? I don't think so, right? So it's like an Enchantress in D3. Yes, it's like the Enchantress. Like, she just gets crammed into a little robot. There's duration support, so that's the increase. Then there's fortify support, but I don't think this is useful. So when your construct uses the supported skill, you gain fortify. Skills with slower attack speed or skills with cooldowns. Oh, interesting. So there was skills without cooldowns. Oh, chat, listen. It says skills with slow attack speed or skills with cooldowns will increase the amount of fortify granted. I'm still not sure how attack speed factors in here. Because right now, Bushwhack, quickly ambush dealing damage to each target, may strike the same target multiple times. How does attack speed factor in there? Does he just faster attack multiple targets? Or is this a no cooldown skill? Because if Bushwhack has no cooldown, and with faster attack speed, he strikes multiple targets multiple times faster, it makes sense. But if he, like, you know, this, like, the attack speed bonus makes only sense on skills that don't have, like here, makes only sense on skills without cooldown. Right? Because if every skill had a cooldown, that one would be useless. Correct? I mean, I assume that slash might be infinite. So slash says pummel enemies in front of the construct dealing damage. So slash with then attack speed bonus would make sense for me if slash is just like he has a cleave now, correct? Because this is what it sounds like. Slash sounds like your bot gets a cleave. So instead of just tippy-toeing with the things, he suddenly has a cleave, and then the attack speed bonus would make sense. Neil, dot tick rate, true. True. It could help with the dot tick rate. What if they're actually planning on making the bot have significant damage? I mean, right now, if they say in the interview that the bot shouldn't feel useless, then the bot has to deal significant damage. My problem is, if the bot deals significant damage, then the content is too easy. Yeah. You can already do Uber Lilith. You can already do tier 100 dungeons. Everything is easy. Nothing is hard. And if you now get a bot that does significant damage, I mean, it would have to deal significant damage to not be useless. Can I then just stand AFK and have my bot do whatever it does? So yeah, fortify support I'm not happy about. Like, it seems overall useless because most characters have a good way to fortify already. But versus bosses, it could be cool. Because, for example, the Blood Surge versus bosses sometimes can struggle on the Fortify department. Therefore, having the Fortify support could actually work versus bosses. I mean, the resource support is good for everyone. Good for everyone. Good for everyone, right? Duration support, so that the skill has a longer duration, that you get primary resource back is just great. Sork has close to no Fortify, but does Sork profit from Fortify in any way? Fortify? Just Sork? Fortify? Yeah, it's all about barrier, right? I mean, it helps with survivability. That's true. I mean, if it like gives Sork Fortify, I guess. Like, so I'll accept that. Gives Sork Fortify option. Good. Initiative support. The supported skill will cause the construct to teleport to this target if out of range. Can only occur once every so often. Okay. I mean, if you're playing Gyrate, Bushwhack. I mean, I guess you could play Bushwhack, quickly ambush, dealing damage to each target, may strike the same target multiple times. Does that mean he can just teleport to things? I mean, Gyrate, he does an area effect, so you could just teleport to things to do an area effect. I guess this is only good if you are a ranged character. This helps. Because if you're a melee character, your bot is right next to you in the thick of it. I mean, yeah, sure. You could do initiative support together with grasp support. So gripping support, damage and effects done by the supporting skill to distant enemies pulls them towards the construct. But that would only work. So initiative with a teleport would only work with a gripping support if you do a damage or effect. Which means that you also need slowing support. Damage from the supported skill slows enemies' movement speed for a limited duration. The closer the enemy is to the seneschal, the greater the slow amount. Enemies may be slowed up to a maximum amount. Which means if you do an attack that also does damage and then slows, you pull things together. It seems so many extra steps to make that useful. I mean, additional skill, the supported skill can hit additional enemies. Cool. That is cool with Tempest. Because if you're looking at Tempest, Tempest says electrically charge an enemy, causing it to deal damage to themselves and additional enemies each second over time. If the enemy is killed, Tempest spreads. That means if you play Tempest, which could electrical charge enemies, and then you could make Tempest also do poison or burn, right? Or you could have stun, but the Tempest could hit multiple targets at the same time. Or the Lightning Bolt could hit multiple targets at the same time. But here is the question. The supported skill can hit additional enemies. If the supported skill can hit additional enemies, does that then count for resource support? Because player gains an amount of primary resource when supported skill first deals damage. But when it hits multiple targets due to the other support, does it also double count? What? What? So many questions that I want to try out. First hit each target will give you a resource, but that's not what it says. If you're reading very correct about the resource support, it says player gains an amount of primary resource when the supporting skill first deals damage. It doesn't say when the supporting skill deals first time damage to a target. It says first deals damage, which could mean first time to a target. But if we're going after Magic the Gathering wording, you know, then it should only count no matter how many mobs you hit for the first instance of damage. So you might hit 20 mobs, but it still counts only for the first instance of damage. Supported projectile skills launch additional projectiles. We only have Firefly, and Lightning Bolt, right? Is a projectile. That's it, right? I mean, Tempest is probably not a projectile. Impale is not a projectile. Gyrate is not one. Bushwhack is not one. Focus Fire. Yeah, it's just Firefly and Lightning Bolt. And then it comes the same question to multi-shot support as it comes for resource support. If I'm launching an additional projectile, does that then count as more damage? Huh. What do you think about classes? Well, we're trying to figure out on which classes things could be good or not. So we're just going through, right? Piercing support. The supported projectile skill will pierce multiple enemies. I mean, we have only Firefly. Deploy a small construct that lands on the target and explodes 3 times. How is that going to pierce? I mean, it already explodes. Then you have Lightning Bolt. And the Lightning Bolt, how is the Lightning Bolt going to pierce? Can Lightning Bolt pierce now? Can a Lightning Bolt pierce now? I mean, this is all things you're going to try out as we have this, right? Bone Spear, yeah, but this is not your skills. Okay? Again, this does not apply to your skills. This applies to the bot skills. These are the bot skills, 12 bot skills, and 27 supports for the bot skills. So this cannot apply to your Bone Spear. Yeah, but Crimson Irood, we only have 2 skills that pierce. And that's fire. This is Firefly and Lightning Bolt. These are the only projectile skills. Or I'm stupid and I don't understand it. Auto defense is defense. Bushwhack is not a projectile. Focus Fire is not a projectile. Gyrate is not one. Impale is not one. Slash is not one. And Tempest is not one. So, yeah. Maybe one of the... Maybe one of the... No, they are supports too. There's no other... That's it. Okay, gripping support. Damage and effects done by the supporting skill to distant enemies pulls them towards the construct, can only occur once every so often. This is good for druids, barbs, and sork too. A rogue probably, right? Druids, barbs, and rogue. Because as a necro, we already have a pull together skill. We don't need it. Druids do only have when they have the ring, correct? As a druid, you have to have the ring if you want to pull things together. So if you want to pull things together as a barb, does the barb have anything? Any pull skill? Yeah, for the Sork, you have the teleport that can pull in, and you have the helm that can pull in, but probably barb has chain. Does the chain pull? Wowan pull? But it seems like it could be good because the Wowan might pull, but like this pulls bonus. We'd use that. Yeah, this is good for everyone. Honestly, good for everyone. I mean, you could probably make it work somehow. I don't like the registered damage support. but maybe I just read it wrong. So any damage cost from the supported skill is registered. There's no way to avoid the damage, as it seems. The registered damage explodes at effectiveness when the target dies as fire damage. What? The registered damage explodes at effectiveness. Huh? Yeah, but what does at effectiveness mean? What does that have to do there? I mean, the registered damage explodes when the target dies as fire damage. Oh, cool. But what is this at effectiveness? Maybe my English is lacking there. Yeah, sounds like a fireball enchantment. Yeah, okay. I mean, if the fire damage also burns, cool. Else meh. I mean, can Sork scale? Maybe good for Sork. Good for Sork. Can you scale? Because when the registered damage explodes at effectiveness when the target does fire damage. The problem is any damage caused by the supported skill. So only the damage this thing causes is the fire damage. But do you scale the fire damage on people as the Sork? Fire. I mean, do you scale the fire damage on corpses? No, this is like burning. You do things against burning, but you don't scale like after standing still, your pyromancy. No, you don't really do. You only do bonus damage like burning stuff, right? Killing a burning enemy increases your mana regeneration, so it's like burning. But you don't actually like you don't care, like you don't scale fire damage. I mean, if this fire damage burns the target, it's cool, but for the burn, we already have the burning support, so that's that, right? So I'm going to say it seems useless. I said it, I'm not taking it back. Moment. Maybe good with gripping. It's because gripping support, damage and effects done by the supporting skill to distant enemies pulls them towards the construct. But if now but it says damage by the skill, but still. So if the corpses explode into fire damage, and then that consecutive damage from the explosion, would that count for gripping support? Because damage and effects done by the supporting skill. So if the supporting skill applies this and then it explodes, because the damage that is done here is actually not done by the supporting skill, it's done by the registered damage support. But would it still count and then pull things further in? Because then you have like a chain reaction of pulling things together, like bomb, pull in, bomb, pull in. Cool. Seeking support. The supported projectile skill will auto-seek enemies for a limited duration. But we have Firefly. Deploy a small construct that lands on the target and explodes 3 times, dealing damage. I mean, Firefly already seeks, and Lightning Bolt is targeted. Maybe I don't like. So if our only projectile skills are Lightning Bolt and Firefly, then launch a Lightning Bolt at the target and launch a Firefly at the target. There is no. There's what is auto seeking? You know? I think the support skill bonus benefit not just the bot, but any skill you use. No, the supported skills, you can see this perfectly here. This is the skill the bot is using. These are the supports for this skill. Again, this has nothing to do with what you do. This is only for your bot. Maybe it means on a static target. Yeah, but that's never been the case. Beauty. Deploy a small construct that lands on the target. I mean, it sounds like it's already seeking. At least how it's described. But they affect your spells too? No, they don't. How would they affect your spells? I mean, they affect your spells in case they're up here with... when the supported skill deals damage, you gain critical strike chance to the same target hits. So that's for you. So this would work for you. But again, this projectile support would not affect your skills in any way. At least not the way how the whole system is presented. Would it make auto defense more effective? The construct activates an anti-material field around itself, shooting down enemy projectiles. I don't know how the seeking support would help there. Right? Slowing support. Damage from the supported skills slows enemies' movement for a limited duration. The closer the enemy is to the seneschal, the greater the slow amount. So, free slow equals to more damage versus slow. Who profits from this? I mean, technically, Necro doesn't need it. We have a curse. Does Sorceress have anything where she does more damage versus slow? No? Cool. What's with Druid? Slow? No? With Barb? I mean, the only thing that Necro has, like, you see, we slow ourselves with this. Slow. Right? But Stick Straws is fantastic for Sork. Does Sork do more damage versus slowed? Is there anything? Slowed. Maybe you should write the whole thing. So I don't see anything. Maybe I'm blind. Maybe okay, wait, is there it wasn't there aspect? After immobilized, worse off, enemies are slowed. No, that doesn't help. Is there anything that helps with that? On offensive items, on rings? Wizard build ice shards, okay. That would profit because like at least my searching doesn't find anything here. Maybe I'm stupid. I made free slow. It's a free slow. And then you have mockery support. Damage done by the supporting skill taunts enemies hit for a limited duration of time. Good for Sork. And minion and summoner necro. I mean, getting enemies taunted seems very useful for summoner necro. Yeah, percent damage for the slowed on enemies too, obviously. This one supports respective item affixes. Yes. Taunt doesn't work against bosses, it says, but should stagger versus bosses. Because the thing is that when I taunt with my golem does stagger instead. I don't think it matters where your minion is. Because, Neil, it says, damage done by the supporting skill taunts enemies hit for a limited duration. Which means if you're shooting a lightning bolt, then no matter where your dude is standing, you're mocking. There's not enough for me to return for Season 3. Honestly, my intriguing question right now is the gameplay loop. So again, the gameplay loop will be level in Arcane Tremors. Arcane Tremors are the new Malignant Tunnels, and Tremors give you Pearls of Warding. Pearls of Warding are used for vaults to actually get the respective stones and also to get bonus riches and loot. So you need Pearls of Warding for the vaults. The vaults can also be Nightmare Vaults. So you always want to do Arcane Tremors to have a stack of Pearls of Warding to then be able to do more vaults, which are then Nightmare Vaults as well in World Tier 3, 4, to also level up your Glyph XP, hopefully in Nightmare Vaults, or I'm going to be mad. And that's kind of like the new level loop, which could be interesting. My problem is, if that is the new level loop, to essentially spend your time into... If that's the new level loop that you're spending your time in Arcane Tremors, then the whole overworld doesn't matter anymore, right? I mean, again, Malphite sees to unleash deadly constructs upon Sanctuary, pouring from the underground to terrorize the innocent and sinful alike. Dismantle deadly traps, destroy lesser elite constructs to earn Shattered Stone. Dispatching elite construct grants Pearls of Warding, which can be used to earn higher valued rewards from replaying vaults. Negate the Arcane Tremor by defeating the vault's Mighty Herald construct, securing a tenuous piece to the denizens above. Exclamation mark season 3, Tetra 9. For the thing. So and then vaults can be turned into Nightmare Vaults. Now, one thing they didn't think about, guys, it says Vault Sigils will drop alongside Nightmare Dungeon Sigils. Yay! These vaults function similar to Nightmare Dungeons, however, they will have deadly constructs and hazards scattered throughout it and the ward-woven chest for the Savvy Wanderer. Now, like our tiny inventory spot that has potions in it, Nightmare Dungeon Sigils, and Vault Nightmare Dungeon Sigils. Do you have info when the Spiritborn class is going to be released? I mean, the Spiritborn class is not confirmed. That is a leak. You don't know if the leak is correct. Please do not assume that leaks are actually correct. And the new class is coming with Vessel of Hatred at the end of the year. Yeah, our sigil inventory is going to be overloaded. But luckily, chat, I have good news for you. We're getting a stash tab. You notice how I said a stash tab, because an extra stash tab is now available. Not tabs. Not tabs. A tab. One. Uno. One singular tab is available. So, no, the Spiritborn class is not confirmed, and we don't know if it's going to be a Spiritborn, but it's a good assumption that it might be a Spiritborn. You know, this might be good. So this is kind of like now the whole thing broken down. I mean, I guess for me personally, it's going to matter. Lightning Bolt here. The skill, like any skill with the lowest cooldown, right? This is probably what matters. You want any skill with the lowest cooldown to do breaking support for the bonus vulnerable, to do resource support for players gain an amount of primary resource when the supporting skill first deals damage, and then also tactical support decreases the cooldown of the supported skill. If the skill actually has a cooldown. Because if you could find a skill that does not have a cooldown, then you don't need to use tactical support, And you could, on top of resource support and breaking support, actually play attack speed bonus, swift support, right? Where you then attack faster, because if it doesn't have a cooldown, and if it gives you resource when it deals damage and makes things vulnerable, if you can then have higher attack speed, that's nice. Or when the supporting skill deals damage, you gain critical strike chance to the same target's hit. Yeah. I don't think you'll need the damage reduction. I just can't see the reason for damage reduction, to be honest. Because if you're doing your build already good, if your build is set up well, then bonus damage reduction is unnecessary in any capacity. What are we talking about? We are talking about the Season 3 currently, the new Rune System, in case you missed it. New Rune System, and how the new Rune System will work on the robot. Yeah, for the Sork, the fire burning effect is like a safe call. What other enchantment would you then use on Sork? I mean, you play Sorcerer, right? Congratulations. And as a Sorcerer, you usually use the burning enchantment to make things burning, and you use the fireball. Yeah. So, I mean, like just randomly say. But you don't have to go for burning anymore. So that means you can go for whatever you want. That's kind of nice. Bolt and Ball is only for some builds and while leveling, but it seems like Bolt seems to be almost for every build, right? So that's quite nice to kind of get rid of that. The issue with the pet is that it's too unreliable to rely on as a main source for some effects. No, I don't think so. The breaking support, for example, damage from the supported skill instantly destroys enemy barrier effects. Insane. But in addition, there's a chance to make enemies vulnerable. If you're looking at this effect at the breaking support and as the Necro, the only way how I make things vulnerable as the Necro is by using Corpse Tendrils. And Corpse Tendrils would only work if there's corpses. So if there's no corpses, no Corpse Tendrils, and then no vulnerable, correct? And it's also like has a really stupid cooldown. Whereas if I use the right skill on the minion, depending on how high the chance for the vulnerable is, I could have a permanent vulnerable going on. So I do believe that this one could definitely make or help me to replace a skill or aspect. But can we rely on the bot shooting on the right targets to apply vulnerable? Well, you don't have to rely on that because you could use Focus Fire, where he shoots a ray of fire. You could use Impale, which goes in one direction. You could use Gyrate, which is an area effect. And this is also Lightning Bolt, where Lightning Bolt hits XXX targets. I mean, if Lightning Bolt hits 10 targets, because it can lash, right? So if it can hit 10 targets, then it can apply 10 times vulnerable. So I think we have to just look at what it can actually do for us and how it can do what for us. If the vulnerable also works when the enemies explode with registered damage support, and then the vulnerable would also work on the registered damage support, why not? I mean, end of the day, I think I'll treat it as a buff bot and just use the Flash of Adrenaline, right? So, Flash of Adrenaline. Administer a quick flash of adrenaline into the player, granting bonus damage. Then, duration support. Longer duration, so longer bonus damage. Tactical support. Shorter cooldown, more bonus damage. Safeguard support. When used, the supporting skill grants damage reduction to you. Bonus damage, damage reduction, more damage, longer damage reduction, more damage reduction. Or, instead of the safeguard support, you could also go for Fortify. So yeah. Seems like just treat it as a buff bot. Right? That makes just perfect sense for me in this case. But we might be underestimating how strong that thing is, because this is season. Okay, we gotta be realistic here. This is the season, and this bot is the seasonal mechanic, right? So I would assume if this bot, why ever this guy does not have a... No, there's the robot, right? Is that the robot? That's the robot, right? I want to say, like, he doesn't have the robot with him. That's the robot. Yeah. So, since the bot is the seasonal mechanic, nothing else, like, this bot is the seasonal mechanic. I would assume that the damage it actually deals is going to be stupid. Yeah. Why else even bother? I mean, there was the PC Gamer Season 3 interview, right? Can I find it? Yeah, what season will get everyone? Ah, here. We got it. So, chat, we found it. That was released 16 hours ago, straight away. So everyone has dreamed of taking care of little robot spider. Season construct starting January 23 will give every player a spet spider. Equipped with powerful skills, vampire powers, you'll be able to tailor to your build, progress, blah. New seasonal items will be divided into 12 governing stones and 27 tuning stones. Yes, the seneschal can't die. So the construct can't die. Okay. Senior Manager of Game Design Daniel Tangri said in a group interview that it can't die, and it will scale with your character's power. We want to avoid this situation where you basically upgrade to the point where your bot is useless. That means, though, if I will have a build that does millions of shadow damage over time, if I have a build that can do, well, I can do like 10 million damage in like with one single X-Fel's corroded signet proc. I mean, if they don't want the bot to feel useless, it got to be overpowered. I mean, right now it says the bot will... Oh, God. It will scale with your character's power. That could mean many things. It could mean that the bot gets a percentage of your attack power. The problem is attack power doesn't show off how much damage you actually deal, so that's stupid. It could be that the bot scales with your base stats. So if you're intelligence-based, it scales with intelligence. It could mean that it just scales with your average equipment level. That would be interesting. So if we're going to say that the bot is stronger, the higher your average equipment power level is, technically that would be intriguing. Practically, if you then hit World Tier 4, get a 925 item, your bot is instantly overpowered. So everything's going to be silly goose, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Yeah. Season 3 will kick off with the discovery of vaults underneath the dunes of Kyrgyzstan. You'll discover an artifact created by returning character Zoltan Kul called the Loom, blah, blah, blah. Vaults will be the season main source of loot, but you'll be careful slip past spike traps and spinning pillars of fire to get the rewards at the end of them. Oh, we're gonna play jump and run. Cool. So every time you get caught by a trap, you'll lose 1 stack of Zoltan's warding, which will determine how many treasure chests you can open at the end. Yes. By using Pearls of Warding at the start of the world, you can essentially bet on how successful your run will be by choosing how many stacks of warding you'll play with. Some classes have skills like the Barbarian's Leap to let them breeze through traps unscathed, but Blizzard says your Seneschal will have shield skills to help less fortunate builds. Wait, are you telling me that I'm as a Necro already fucked? So if the Bard with Leap can just go past certain things, if the Sork with Teleport can just go past certain things, I have Blood Mist, which has a very high cooldown. Okay? Are you telling me? And I'm the slowest walking character. You know? I'm the slowest walking character as well. Are you kidding me? Season 3 will add several other features to the game, including hub area called the Gate Hall with vendors and portals. Thank you, persistent health events, stash tab. Guaranteed item power 925 drops from various activities after level 75, including That wasn't there. Chad, why was that not in there? So, guaranteed item power 925 drops from Verizon activities after level 75, including tier 90 Nightmare Dungeons. That's interesting because in my assumption, tier 90 plus Nightmare Dungeons should have a more guaranteed drop of 925. I mean, the rewards of the dungeon should always be 925, to be fair. Not that every item drops in a tier 100 dungeon should be 925, but if I finish a tier 100 dungeon, right? I finish a tier 100 dungeon, I should get 925 loot. I mean, imagine finishing a tier 100 dungeon and you get an 832 item. Correct? So, later in the season, a level 100 fixed weekly dungeon with leaderboards rewards called the Gauntlet will arrive. Yeah, we know that. Drops proof of might, blah, blah, blah. So there's nothing interesting about that. This is the same. If anything like Season 2's Upper 12 Zero, it will be a joy to watch. Yes, probably. We're actively trying to avoid just saying this is going to be our seasonal template. Here's let's crank him out. When asked about how the team is managing the first fully... Okay, given the huge positive response to Season 2... I mean, this is good. The interesting things, some stuff like good that he can't die and he's going to scale with your item power. We don't know what that means. But yeah, I do believe that some people will be disappointed with this season. That's for sure. Because again, like there is still no endgame, which is a reasonable complaint, especially if you don't care about leaderboards. So if you have really absolutely no interest in leaderboards, if leaderboards has no sway over you, I do believe that after 2-3 weeks, you're probably done with the season, depending on how much you play. I mean, if you play very slow, this is a month of content for you, right? If you play very slow, it's a month of content for you where you 1 month play through. Leaderboards bore you to death. Well, you don't have to look at the leaderboards as the leaderboards itself. So the main intrigue is that the Gauntlet is a linear, non-changing dungeon, okay? So you have a dungeon, it has a path A, B, C, okay? A, B, C, and it doesn't change. So you could at least play every week, every dungeon 3 times to just see which is the perfect path and then try to get your perfect time if you're interested in that. Yeah. I feel guaranteed 925 is level 90, undermines level 100 though. Yeah, well, the thing about that is that level 100 means squat shit, so what does it undermine? Haha. The thing is, if you don't get 925 items before level 100, there's nothing to do on level 100. On level 100, you're essentially killing Uber Lilith. You do a tier 100 dungeon, if not already done. You max out your stones, if you haven't done that already. And then you're done. I mean, with level 100, the game ends. The game doesn't begin with level 100. The game ends with level 100. In Diablo 4 right now. Tier 100 giving max items makes opponents to work for those tier 100s. No, tier 100s give more max XP. The glyph XP of a tier 100 is vastly higher, and tier 100s are still super easy. I mean, with my latest character, I think I did tier 100s with like, what, level 93 or so? I was speed farming them on the build, so that was easy squeezy. Choose your poison, right? What makes sense for you? But yeah, like right now, I feel like if you have no interest in Hell Tides, if you have no interest in leaderboards, I mean, it's still a month of content, and then you're done with the season, and that's okay. I do think like a lot of people need to get used to the basic idea that, I mean, Gen 23 releases, so Gen 23 release. And Fab 23, you're done. That's essentially it, right? And I think a lot of people need to get used to that thought. If you're a gamer that games a lot, if you rush to level 100, and like, I mean, the season is there to experience the seasonal mechanic. That's why a season exists. Yeah. At least we get the seasonal mechanic from level 1 on, right? I mean, as far as I understood, we are level 1, we get the robot. Is there any point in playing an Eternal character past level 100? I mean, you can farm up your character further. Or do we have to do something for it? Do we have to beat the vault the first time? Yeah, you probably have to start the quest, right? Yeah, you're right about that. To play the Season of the Construct season quest line, you must create a new character, blah, blah, blah. Take advantage of the skip main campaign, right? Travel to Gatehole, a town center underneath Kyrgyzstan that serves as your base operations, then fight against the constructs. The Gatehole is your conduit to access the deadly vaults, riddled with elemental hazards and constructs. So these vaults are the key to harnessing the true potential of the Loom. So yeah, you're probably going to get your robot relatively early. I guess step number 1 is doing the seasonal quest. Actually, I'm going to have to revise my step number 1 here. Step 1. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Finish seasonal quest for robot. Right? Then level in Arcane Tremors. Case I, the link is in the video description of the YouTube video. Get your back. I'm personally excited. I think like so. What do we do? Like this is the seasonal creator game plan. Okay, chat. Now this is next 30 days. Next 30 days, we're gonna level up 2 or 3 necromancers to level 100. Level up 1 druid to level 100. Probably my plan currently. Maybe a rogue. No, maybe a sword this season. Maybe a sword this season too. So that's kind of like my plan. Where these are like next 30 days, then every character is going to get a level 1 to 100 speedrun video. Okay. So that's what it's going to be. Every character gets a 1 to 100 speedrun video. Because it's kind of interesting to do these. Try out a build for every core skill on Necro. So we're going to have Bone, Blood, X2, Shadow, X2, and Summon. So you're gonna at least get, you're gonna at least get 1 Bone, 2 Blood, 2 Shadow, and 1 Summon build. Yeah, and then part 2 of the season is Gauntlet release. And that's why I need 3 Necros. So you wonder why 3 Necros? Try the Gauntlet with 3 S tier builds each. Blood, Bone, Shadow. On Necro. With weekly optimization. How do I write optimization? Optimization? Wait. Yeah, cool. Yeah, with weekly optimization. So that's kind of like my game plan. What do you think? Are we liking this? I mean, we're definitely going to level up. You're going to get the speed runs. It's going to be 2, 3 Necros, maybe a Druid, maybe a Sorg videos. Then we're going to try out the different builds to find out the S tier builds, but we still give you the fun builds. And as soon as the Gauntlet is there, I'm actually hunting top 1,000 probably. But I also want to give you builds that can help you to get top 1,000 because, important Gauntlet, Notice top 1000 gives you a fancy frame. Good. Because that's what it is, guys, right? Top 1000 gives you a fancy frame. In case you didn't know this. Yeah. Like here, Wayne, Vauhan. So if you manage to get top 1000, and that changes weekly, that's the cool thing. You'll get a fancy frame here, this one. I mean, imagine flexing this on your friends because you saw a Ponyhoff video and he gave you the build. Give Last Epoch a try. So right now, with the way how the content is going, there is a world where I will check Last Epoch on the 21st. Maybe. Because, again, Last Epoch looks shit. Graphic-wise. I'm not saying the game is shit. I'm saying that Last Epoch gameplay. And if I'm choosing like a video that was current, hopefully. And it's hard to find a current video sometimes. Like, you know, like all these videos are kind of old. Here, this 2009. But yeah, like the game looks bad. Game looks horrible. If I want to play a horrible looking game, I can also play Path of Exile. Now, I'm not saying the game is bad. I'm just saying the way it looks. And I like Diablo because it actually looks good. That's just my thought there, you know? But yeah, this is my game plan for the next 30 days. I hope you're excited for this. That's what we're going to be doing. Kind of. Depending on how interesting the season is. I might also notice that the season is just boring and I'll just stop playing after 30 days. What do you need to do in the Gauntlet to get in the top rank 1000? Fast as fuck, boy. The Gauntlet is a timing thingy. Okay? Well, wait, not true. The Gauntlet is a score thingy. When you kill enemies in the Gauntlet, they drop proofs of might. These proofs of might are actually visible here. You see this? You see these golden flames? This is a proof of might. And that is a proof of might. So when you kill opponents, and the faster you kill opponents, the more proofs of might drop, the more proofs of might you pick up, and the more scored you get. I mean, since the dungeon has an ABC route, so every dungeon has an ABC route, I assume there is a max score you could potentially get. Okay? So that, like, because how else? How else is going to work? I mean, there's only a limited amount of opponents, and there's a max score you can get in a given time. Because again, these dungeons are timed. Yeah. Loot drops at the end of the timer. So you have 5 minutes to clear the dungeon, and in these 5 minutes, you got to get the maximum proofs of might. Which means that in order to get the 1000, you need to kill things really fast and move through the dungeon really fast too. Which makes me think, and this is very important, that shadow damage over time is shit. Because shadow damage over time kills enemies over time. Right? Because if shadow damage over time needs time to kill enemies, and then you need to go back to pick up the proofs of might. But if you play like a build that just clicks a button and everything dies, like Blood Surge, right? Then I just walk in, Blood Surge, everything dies, pick up everything, walk in, Blood Surge, everything dies, pick up everything. So I guess Blood Surge will probably be the Gauntlet build for everything. I just can't see anything else being better than Blood Surge for the Gauntlet, depending on if there's a boss. Because that is the big question right now, correct? If the Gauntlet is a dungeon, or one dungeon that you play through, and you get proofs of might for killing enemies, is there a boss at the end? Because if there's no boss, right? If there's only packs of elites, then eat my ass. I'm playing Blood Surge. Because Blood Surge is insane for that. Correct? That's just my base assumption there. But yeah, the Gauntlet, I think, is interesting itself. It's kind of like the Abattoir Zir. Because what was the Abattoir Zir, guys? The Abattoir Zir was a gear check. Like, the Abattoir Zir was a, can I do this? But the Abattoir Zir was kind of never like a, is this hard? Because it's not. The Abattoir Zir is not hard. You don't need skill to beat it. You just needed the patience to grind that stupid glyph to level 200. Like, you just had to invest like 100+ hours to grind it up, and then you could do harder content. So it wasn't really hard. And the same kind of goes for the leaderboards. I don't think it's going to be difficult to beat the dungeon. The question is just, as always, how fast can you beat the dungeon with your respective build? So the difficulty is more like the final min-maxing, the tweak twerking, and then actually playing good. So I'm going to try. I mean, I want to land up in the top 1,000, probably. It's going to be intriguing. We'll see about that. But yeah, the robot is quite interesting because now there comes another level of min-maxing because it's not only your build, correct? So now it's your build plus what your robot does. This makes the Gauntlet, for me personally, this season interesting, and why you could be intrigued in a leaderboard. Because you have your build. So I have my Blood Surge build that I think will be very good. But I, at the same time, have to already think about how can I utilize my Blood Surge build? How can I make my Blood Surge build better with the robot? Is the robot allowed in the Gauntlet? Here's a picture of the Gauntlet. So again, I'll scroll down. This is the Gauntlet is delayed for season. This is the picture. I clicked on the picture and I zoomed in. And if you tell me that this is not the robot, then you're blind, right? There is one robotic leg. There's the robotic teeth. There's the robotic tail. There's the robotic leg. And there's the rune on top of it. So that is the robot. Which means, to me, that for the Gauntlet, you have to factor in the robot. And that makes things very interesting. Did they say how long we have to wait for the Gauntlet? I mean, a month. Easily. I do not expect the Gauntlet to come before the second part of the season. And that makes perfect sense because this is their season philosophy right now. So you can expect every single season from them. Season release with a new season mechanic. After 30 days, something drops. And then after another 30 days, another something drops. This is what I assume. So we are either going to get the Gauntlet already after 30 days, and then maybe we're also getting something like Vampiric Powers back. Because remember, chat, last time, after 30 days, we got new unique items, right? And what was it? Sacrilegious ring release. What was it? The... not sacrilegious. No, here. See, this was the 4th of November. 4th of November was the update during BlizzCon speech, keynote, blah, 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 blah. When did we actually get the release? On the 7th. No, 6th. 7th or 6th November we get this, right? That means the season got released on the 17th October. So October... 17th October, we get the season. Correct? So not even 30 days later, we got a content update with the new unique rings. And then on the 6th of December, we had... Yeah. So we get everything really, really quick, kind of. For like the season. So I think like it says later in the season, but they'll probably tell us tomorrow. Yeah. They'll most likely give us that information. Let's see it be otherwise, to be honest. And I'm really, really looking forward to this for a month. And then we'll see where it goes afterwards. I mean, again, this document, guys, by the way, is our evergreen information document. So don't forget, here is just very good videos in general about Diablo knowledge. There is our uber unique tier list on which build it actually works for Necro. Then there is the tier list for the Season 2 Necros, okay, and how good they were in each respective content with a video and a build link. Okay, more X is better, by the way. So this is all what we had. AOZ is obviously gone, so that's useless. But that was Season 2. We're going to get a Season 3 tier list. We're going to get the uber unique tier list is still working, so nothing is off. We're going to add all the other uniques to this as well for you. I think you'll like this. So all the uniques and for which build they're actually good. And the same we're going to do for Season 3. So this is Season 3 general information. This is 3, how all the stones, just so you have all the stones popping, right? And here I will just always put evergreen videos. So right now, this explains how armor works in Nightmare Dungeons, resource generation, glyphs, Paragon breakdown, world record, item power, and general tips. Just all for you together, you know, so you never lose like any piece of information, because, you know, I feel like that would be good to provide you with cool stuff. Good. What's the verdict now, though? Chad, what's the overall overarching verdict? You're going to play? You're not going to play. I will give it at least 30 days. At least 30 days. But I have a dire feeling this might end up a bit like Season 1 for me. Because Season 1, after 30 days, I was kind of done. If I check back, we're checking back right now, video-wise. I mean, Season 2, we did 90 videos or so, which is crazy. Think about it, Chad. But this was Season 2. Season 2, see, there's Slice of P, there's Slice of P, Slice of P, Starfield, 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 Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate. Then that was like, yeah. This was season 1. There was some source. There was the new Nightmare Density. Yeah, that was... Season 1 was really fast done. Like, the amount of videos was, like, really not much. It was Renown as a joke, because no one liked Renown. Oh, man. Sad face. How fast Season 1 was actually done. Yeah, I think at least 100 hours of gameplay. Right now, that is my estimate. At least 100 hours of gameplay out of this season before the Gauntlet, at least. How much, if 100 hour of gameplay is 100 hours, Chad, how much is that for you in weeks? I mean, for me, 100 hours of gameplay, if I factor in my 8 hours per day of stream, where we play like at least 6 hours, right? So I play 6 hours a day, right? And we have 100 hours through 6 is at least 16.66 days. Honestly, sounds like the same game with minor changes to make it seem new without being new. Well, that's how ARPGs work. Sorry? That's how ARPGs work. The beauty about ARPGs is you play the same game. The same game. You play Diablo 4, but it's different in a way. If you do not like the base Diablo 4, then you won't like Seasons. Seasons can be quite unique. Look at PoE. Yes, there are some unique seasons in PoE, Farseer. And some of the older seasons of PoE were also not very unique. Honestly, the new seasonal mechanic that is right now out in the current season is quite boring to me in PoE at all. It's the same game with a new seasonal mechanic that is shit. I was not enjoying Affliction. So yes, you're right. Some seasons can feel unique. This one, I like the robot. I like the robot. I think it's cool. And it will change my builds drastically. AKA, it might make them work again. Because I have to consider that my best build, my Blood Surge build, my Infinite Essence Blood Surge build, because that's the crazy part, right? So we had a build that creates Infinite Essence. But the only way how that build could create Infinite Essence is due to vampiric powers. It was actually not creating Infinite Essence from alone. That brings me to a slight problem now, because if I'm planning to keep this Infinite Essence up, what's the Infinite Essence in here? I will need another source of vulnerable, or a better source of vulnerable, right? So see, this is what we did. This is what we did, Chad. Like, right? Infinite Essence. Brilliant. Brilliant. But this was only possible because of the Accursed Touch vampiric power. Now the Accursed Touch vampiric power doesn't exist anymore, but we're getting breaking support. Damage from supported skill makes vulnerable. So if breaking support works the way I want it to work, then the build I'm planning to do, the Blood Surge build, is going to be insane, especially with resource support as well. Now that's a big if, when, why, correct? And what I don't know as well is, what are they doing to minions on the Necro? Because tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, we're getting the Fireside chat, and we're getting the class changes. Because this whole block does not have any class changes right now. So we don't actually know what happens to the Necro minions. Are they finally getting buffed? Are we finally doing damage? Is there actually something valuable happening? Or not? I'm intrigued. I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, I can understand if some people are not so excited for the season. What I think is, for me right now, the saddest part is, and I hope they change this, because they talked about an increase of material farm currently to make material farming easier. But if the leaderboards are a thing, you will want to have, probably in Dariel's Visage, you maybe want to have the Harlequin Crest, and you maybe want to have the Grandfather, right? I mean, if the Duriel farm is the same boring shit as now, and they didn't change anything about the Duriel farm, yeah, that would be sad. I'm going to be honest. Yeah, they changed the most massive farm about Duriel farm. Helltides are permanent, which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. That Helltides are permanent is nice. But I would prefer if the Uber Uniques could drop also from the vault. Since that's where I'm going to spend most of my time. I will be vaulting, right? I will want to do the season mechanic. But we'll see. We'll see. Uber Uniques can drop everywhere. Yeah, but they drop more lightly from Duriel, which is a fact and a half at that. I mean, I'll definitely not farm them. That's why I play Necro. I mean, you might see this, correct? So if you actually go through all of these, Ring of Starless Skies, useless. Selig, useless for Necro. Doombringer can be good, but also not needed. Visage is good in some builds, but you don't need it. Harlequin Crest is good in some builds, but there's so many better options. And the Grandfather is good in some builds, but as well, there's so many better options. So realistically, not a single Uber Unique is needed for the Necro. They work, but they don't do anything for the Necro. So that's quite a good thing. Which makes me happy. I mean, I'm not like a Barb, you know, that needs to farm all of the Uber Uniques to be useful. I know. I'm really going to miss Meta in Season 3. Metamorphosis, or however you pronounce it correctly, because I always pronounce it wrong, was nice for T-Bald's Will, especially on the Necromancer. I do not know if the other classes have ways to become unstoppable. I mean, I know how to become unstoppable with my Blood Mist, technically. But yeah, not being able to dash for 50 Essence is going to be rough. Maybe Vampiric Powers are coming back in some way. This is something they haven't said. So Vampiric Powers are gone. Gonzo. Dunzo. They're not there. But they never said that Vampiric Powers are gone for good or not coming back in any singular way. We might be knowing more tomorrow in the Fireside Gathering chat, because that's where more information is coming. You know? I'm disappointed in the Gauntlet leaderboard not being released at launch. I'm not. You are going to take, okay? You're going to take at least 10 to 20 hours to get level 100. In these 10 to 20 hours, which for some people is a week of gameplay, yeah, you do that. Then after 10 to 20 hours, you'll need to farm gear for another 20 hours. So let's say you need at least 40 hours to be ready. 40 hours for me, same, 40 hours, 6 hours a day is already a week of gaming. A week of gaming. So I'll take a week to at least get geared to a degree. And 40 hours is pretty low at that. Probably 60 hours to be really optimally geared, right? So you'll take 60 hours to be optimally geared. That's 10 days. I mean, assuming that you're not having 5 hours of gaming, assuming you only have 4 hours of gaming, that would already be for you 15 days. And the season is probably going to be releasing 30 days after season start, 20 to 30 days. So it's reasonable to say that you give everyone the chance to become geared. So when the leaderboard starts, not only the hardcore grinders have a chance, everyone has a chance. And I think that's only fair, because I am not Rob2628. I am not Voody. I mean, Mr. Voody Joe, Voody, or however you now want to pronounce him in English, he's going to be doing like straight up these race to world first live streams, right? All these guys, they're going to race for world first again and blah and whatsoever. But if the leaderboard was already out, they would essentially get a free first place or a free top 1,000, right? Without a challenge. I mean, you just rush to level 100 and then you get a free top 1,000. That doesn't seem to be fair. Because if top 1,000 really gives you a permanent portrait picture, and not only a permanent portrait picture, right? So there's also the Hall of Ancients. In the Hall of Ancients, the top 10 of every leaderboard are getting. So if you would release the leaderboard straight away, and they're weekly changing, so this is important, weekly changing. That means if you're day 1, 24/7 playing to become level 100, to then day 2 already play the leaderboard to essentially get into the top 10, then after 7 days or 5 more days, you would already have a permanent leaderboard spot just by gaming time, not by gaming skill. Callum, see you? And I feel like that ain't it. I mean, it's unfair. It's unfair for people that have all the time, because terminally online people have a problem that they're terminally online. But that's how most leaderboards work after some point, to be honest, Picoto. Yeah, but why does it have to be like this? I mean, grinding more grinds you ranks. Yeah, Picoto, obviously, the more you grind, the more ranks you get. But I think everyone should have the same starting point. So if the leaderboard starts after 30 days, okay, leaderboard starts after 30 days, then technically everyone had 30 days to grind up. Now, obviously, some people in these 30 days will have 300 hours, and some people will only have 100 hours. But it is reasonable to assume that the 300-hour player is potentially only 10% better equipped than the 100-hour player. And then there comes personal skill. But I believe that time should not be the differentiating factor on the release, especially since you kind of want to enjoy the seasonal mechanic. I mean, having fun with Diablo 4. If leaderboards were there at the start of the season, right? And if you're interested in leaderboards, you have no choice but to rush. You don't have the choice to enjoy the game, to have fun in the game. Because reasonable, if you are a content creator and the leaderboards would be out, you would have to rush as fast as possible. So that's good. I kind of like that, you know? It doesn't matter for me, though. I would still, like, enjoy my time. Do we have any speculations for endgame content? Or are we just doing the same stuff aside from leaderboards? Same stuff aside from leaderboards. No, okay, wait. I'm lying. Okay, listen. The big thing that is different is getting to 100. So, like, right now, I don't think you treat Diablo as an endgame game. So what you do in Diablo is you get your character to level 100, and then you stop playing that character. That's Diablo for you. Right now, the difference is that while you're getting to level 100, you have the vaults, you have the arcane tremors, and you have also nightmare vaults. So you're not playing normal nightmare dungeons, you're going to play nightmare vaults. That means the new endgame content instead of nightmare dungeons is now nightmare vaults. Now, we don't know how vaults are going to play, right? We don't know how, like, they're going to have traps. They're going to have, like rolling fire beams and arcane contraptions that try to blow you up. They have the constructs in, but there's also going to be a tier 100 nightmare vault, right? So you can actually get level 100. You can kill Uber Lilith. You can kill all the Uber bosses. You can min-max your build as much as you want. You can get your robot up to max level. You can try around with a robot to make him as useful as possible. You can try out different builds. These are all possible things. And then you have to beat a tier 100 dungeon. That's kind of easy. You'll do that at level 95. But let's say you're a casual player, so you're going to probably beat a tier 100 dungeon at 100. No, let's be real. If you're a casual player, you're probably going to get level 100. Then you're going to have to grind 10 to 20 hours. And then you can do a tier 100 dungeon. And then you would have to still clear a tier 100 vault. So realistically, I mean, again, we're looking at that the average player who does not level up to level 100 in 20 hours, with a like, again, if you have 100 hours of gameplay with 2 hours of gaming time per day, you're busy for 50 days. And that would assume 50 days of continuous gaming. So if you now have 2 hours of gameplay per day, and you have 100 hours you can invest in the season, and 100 hours is actually a lowball offer, right? That would still be 2 months of gaming that the season offers to you. I mean, this problem is a self-created issue, because if you have 100 hours that you can invest into the season and you play 8 hours a day, you have 12.5 days and you're an idiot. Because you're playing 8 hours a day of the same game. That's a you problem. I mean, as much as we want to blame games, and as much as I want to blame games, and I want more content and more, I want more. And I'm a content creator that plays. Now, I don't even play 8 hours per day. I play like 4 to 6 hours per day, right? Realistically. But yeah, This is a self-created problem. This is not a problem of lacking content. So you're saying every 7 days, 1,000 players get the frame. Yes. Okay. So for the leaderboards, just to wrap this up quickly, the leaderboards reset every 7 days. After 7 days, there will be a snapshot of the leaderboards, and then they reset again. But after 7 days, the top 10 players will forever be marked as the top 10 players in the Hall of Ancients of that week. And then also the top 1,000 players get their Seal of Worthy. That means that there's a realistic chance with weekly resetting leaderboards that at the end of the month or at the end of the season, you could easily get top 1,000. 40-year-old father of 2 with a full-time job. It takes a good month or 2 for me to get level 100. Exactly, Flailing Mantis. And if we consider the gameplay for these people, and this is my content too, because who am I making content for? Right? Chat. Who am I making content for? Casual gamers with maybe 2 to 10 hours of gaming time per week. Moms and dads who have no time or fun finding out things, who just want to play their games without hassle. This is what content I create, right? I don't make content for hardcore gamers with too much time. This is literally like, that's what I make content for. And considering that this is the people we're making content for, there is enough content in this season. This is also why I am not personally unhappy. I play Elden Ring 8 to 10 hours a day on the weekends. That's okay, Giovanni. That makes you a giga chat. This is, yeah, that makes you pretty amazing. I'm not going to lie. There should be an option for hardcore gamers too. It doesn't have to be all for casuals. The option for hardcore gamers is leaderboards. Deal with it. And you know, now you have 30 days to hardcore gamer and prepare. So that's your option for hardcore gamers. I mean, last season you got ABBA 12 Zier. That was for hardcore gamers as well. Even for me as the content creator, I didn't want to do ABBA 12 Zier. I was really fucking bored and had no interest at all in doing that. So yes, I do agree that there should be something for hardcore gamers, but then you're playing the wrong game. You're not a casual, Neil. You're the furthest away from a casual. You're more tryhard than I ever will be. But yeah, like Diablo 4 is not a hardcore game. I think this is just like, this is important, right? D4 is not a hardcore game. Done. It's a game made for casuals. If you want a hardcore game, go play something else. Yeah. I don't want to be this guy. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to say this. But if you're someone that has more than, I mean, if you have more than 20 hours of gaming time per week, only playing Diablo is stupid. So if you have more than 20 hours of gaming time per week and you only play Diablo, I mean, that's your own fault. Because there is, like, I don't mean to call you stupid, chat. I don't mean to be mean to you, right? But if you are, like, if that's your gaming time and you're then complaining that there's not enough to do, that's a self-created issue. So you're stupid, Sven? I mean, it's my job. I'm anyway stupid for doing this job, you know? 24/7 online, being yelled at by the internet for having an opinion, trying to make fancy content and still being called an idiot. The usual. It's a bad thing to say about ARPG players. I mean, ARPG players should play more than one ARPG. ARPG players should always play more than one ARPG. But look at Mr. Llama and Cooley, only D2 and D2R. I mean, like these are content creators too, Dash. You know, they're doing that also for content. I don't know if they would play the same amount of D2 and D2R if it wasn't for content. You know? But yes, there are ARPG players that play D2 and never play anything else. And there are ARPG players that play D2R and never play anything else. And there's also people that actually still play Diablo and nothing else. You know? There will always be hardcore gamers, the 0.01%. It's perfectly fine to only love one game. No one tells you to not love one game. But if you, again, no one says it's not fine to love one game. But if you, again, play massive amounts of one game and then complain that you do not have enough to do, that is a you issue. That is not the game's fault. Because the game cannot accommodate for you living in there. It simply can't. No game can, to a degree. Because every game will get deja vu. There's a reason why I stopped playing Hearthstone. And it's not because I suck. I mean, I do, but different point. But after 10,000 hours of Hearthstone, you land up in a deja vu moment. After 10,000 hours of anything, you will have constant deja vus. Because it's going to be like, oh, I've had this hand before 400 times. Or I've seen this situation before 400 times. Oh, and I have been here exactly in this place with this deck versus that deck with this hand at least 250 times. The more you do something, and the longer you do something, and the more time you invest into it, the faster it'll get boring or repetitive. And obviously, with a lack of content, there is a lack of content, the faster it gets repetitive. But again, it comes down to it's a self-created problem. Yeah, I guess you just blasted a couple of days. I mean, we just said it. Like, the couple of days are actually 50 days. We said 50 days with 2 hours gaming time per day. So if you are an absolute average gamer, not someone with too much time, you will have 30 to 50 days of gaming time this season. And then you're done. How is it a self-created problem if someone enjoys playing one game? I have an analogy for you. I like pizza. I could eat 3 pizzas per day. Now, if I eat 3 pizzas per day, that might not be good for my health. You like Diablo. You play Diablo 10 hours a day. Surprise, that might also not be healthy. Because you'll hit a point where you love a game so much, but the game does not what's the word for give back? Replicate the amount of love that you have for the game because it just doesn't have more to offer. You're screwed. So again, self-created problem. I don't know what's so hard about that to understand. And that in this case, you know, your gaming time that you're using is you creating yourself a problem. But I think you understood this already, Dash, and you're just in here for discussing at this point. Not sure, though. It's like a one-sided relationship. Reciprocate. Yeah. Like I don't know how to pronounce that. Here, this word here, chat. Thank you. I was looking for this word, I think, right? Was it that word? Yeah. I think that's the word. I was looking for this. I can't pronounce it. That word. You know, you put so much time into this, like it's a one-sided relationship, right? You put all the time in, but what comes back is not what you put in. Toxic relationship. A lot of gamers have a toxic relationship, and you know which gamers we're talking about? We're talking about Bronx 5 players. Yeah, chat. These are the gamers that have a toxic relationship with games. God damn it, Bronx 5 players. It is what it is. Good. That was a very interesting discussion, though, about the new seasonal mechanic. I am quite excited, looking forward to this, but we will have a live stream tomorrow, chat. Okay? So that was just today's talk about this. I'll have a video wrapping all of this up together tomorrow with our Theorycraft. But we will also have a live stream, a live react stream to the Fireside Gathering, chat. So I will stay awake at night, depending on how late it is. I mean, if it's not too late, I'll probably stay awake anyways, and we'll do a live stream and watch everything, and then complain because we like to complain. That's the plan. Okay. Now we're going to turn off YouTube, and then we're going to game a little bit on Twitch, because right now we have only talked and we've only, you know, shown everything, but I think we also want to play some things. So good night, YouTube. Thank you for being with us.